All right, welcome back to Going Bush. Now, Andrew, you would have had to have been living under a rock not to have noticed some of the fairly significant changes happening in Australia's native forest industry, particularly in the island state of Tasmania.
That's right, Nick. It's been a turbulent few years. There's been uncertainty over resource. There's been corporate collapse. It's probably not the best time to invest.
Or so you would think.
Meet James Neville-Smith, Executive Chairman of Neville-Smith Forest Products, and a man who, despite all the uncertainty and angst in the Tasmanian forests, has decided to invest heavily in the sector. It's a confidence found in taking a global view.
I'm a pragmatist. I believe in sustainable forestry, and I believe that the rest of the earth and the rest of the developed nations around the globe are all investing in this proposition of managing their native forests sustainably. In North America and in Europe, everyone is certifying and operating in their native forests, and so I don't see any reason why Australia should be any different.
The Tassie bush isn't anything new to the Neville-Smith clan. James's grandfather started the family firm back in the early 1920s, and the company grew to become one of Australia's leading sawing and milling operations. This dynamic business caught the eye of the corporate foresters, and in 2004 was sold to Elders and then again to Gunns a few years later. When Gunns collapsed, it was Neville-Smith who stepped back in to pick up the pieces.
You know, here we are back again, buying back, I guess, the assets that we used to operate, and you know, we're very happy to be back, and you know, I think the industry is happy to see a familiar face and you know, start talking positively about what is a great industry.
Neville-Smith Forest Products is now back in control of the Southwood Sawmill, one of Australia's most sophisticated hardwood mills, producing high-quality sawn timber from the native regrowth forests south of Hobart.
So here we have a stump from the original harvesting operation back in 1969, I think.
Yeah.
So
and due for harvest again when, James?
well, probably another 25, 30 years.
Yeah, right. Some nice trees in here then.
Yeah, they'll be nice and have a bit of girth on them.
And the Neville-Smith story doesn't just stop at Southwood. The company has created an integrated supply chain from the forest to the consumer. So once the timber is finished at that very flash mill down there in Southwood, Nick, it's brought to the north of the state like it's been done so for 80 odd years.
That's right, this is the dry mill site here in Launceston, where that Tasmanian hardwood is then run through various sort of high-tech machines to turn it into finished products, which are then exported around the state and indeed the rest of the country. Most of the company's output flows into the high-end building trade, renovations and second and third home builds, markets where the customer is happy to pay a premium for the quality of Tas oak.
I think it was critical that they did come back in at the time they did. Without the Neville-Smith family coming back into this operation, I think we'd have seen a continued reduction of Tas oak out there in the marketplace, and that's always very hard to get that back up once you've gone down to very low levels.
This is the third site where Neville-Smith operate in Tasmania. It's up on the Tamar River, and it's a wood chip mill, one of very few left operating in Tasmania.
What we're standing on is basically plantation fibre, but a consequence of forest activities is the creation of residues, which has meant wood chips coming out of Tassie for a long time. And of recent years, the word wood chip has almost been sort of bandied around as though it was, in fact, a dirty word.
The perception's not great, which is unfair really, because everyone uses tissue paper and writing paper and books all day, every day. So, you know, the reality is that these chips go off to Japan. They make a wonderful quality paper product, and that everyone uses every day, and they come from a sustainable resource, whether it be in the natural forest or from plantations.
Neville-Smith has taken over the Smart Fibre wood chip mill at Bell Bay, which has laid dormant for the past 6 months. With port access and the ability to process plantation and native timber, it's a vital piece of the forestry infrastructure puzzle.
Every tree has got a portion of wood chip in it. Wood chips are a natural byproduct of a sustainable forest management plan.
So with more than 80 years experience in the Tassie bush, Neville-Smith Forest Products has put its money where its mouth is and invested back into the Tasmanian forest industry.
Its Southwood and Mowbray mills turn out high-end Tasmanian hardwood building products, and the Smart Fibre wood chip mill exports plantation, fibre and native forest residues to the world. To find out more, visit nevillesmithfp.com. Still to come today, the inner glow that comes from an open fire, but only after we learn the do's and don'ts of wood hooking.